welcome, I guess, in another devlog. I think it's the third or fourth one. I actually don't know. I'm not logged in on the YouTube channel, so I actually don't know shit. Nothing has been done this week. I mean, nothing. There was one thing that I wanted to do, but I failed again and again. That's why the usage time spiked, but progress didn't. The only thing I did is a toon shader, which is still not perfect. The to-do list stays the same as a week ago, so you don't actually have to read that again, and we won't go over that again. But the only thing I've done this week is a toon shader. That's a bit shameful, right? Okay, let me jump to it. So I had problems with the toon shader. Oh, and actually I've been messing around with grass also, so it might add it to the list, but whatever. So I've been making a toon shader this past week. As you can see on the bush, it catches only a few levels of light. It doesn't actually like get lit per pixel, like for example this tree. I mean, the lighting of this tree is per vertex, but I guess it looks smooth. Like there are not quantized light levels, but the birch tree actually here does have it. So you can see there are, I think, three, looks like five, but it should be three levels of light, and it's basically cell shaded. The light is divided into increments. That's how it gets its cartoony look, as well as the player. The player has two levels of light per, I think it's per actually a source. That's why it looks like it's got three. But the toon shader I've been messing with is right there. That's the fragment function. Right there I applied the texture, but I actually want to like step back from using textures and do everything albedo based. That's why this bush looks like smooth, but this tree right there still has a gradient, still has like messy textures, as you can see this one. The colors are a bit off, but you can see the three light tones right there greatly. And on the stem, I believe. The trunk, how do you call it? A log? Whatever. This had a texture. This is a baobab. I removed it, so yeah, I think you won't be able to see it. But if I go to this tree, it's got a texture, alright? It's got a gradient. It's like a little messy. You can see it's not YouTube compression or anything. These like small strips of light, basically the texture, which was there to add like a more real feeling. The game would look more like, I don't know, Clash of Clans or something. But I think if I'm going to go for a toon shader, I'm going to step back from the textures, because if you use textures and toon shading at the same time, the texture won't look toon shaded, but because the gradient will basically make the light bands look like they're continuous, so there's no point in using the toon shader when you're having the gradients, and vice versa. In the vertex function, I have a way to add wind to the trees, and we could see that in the, wait, yeah, right there. See, the leaves move a bit. Yeah, that's a bit too much displacement actually right now, but it's gonna be fixed. The wind is going to be made like global, so a single gust of wind will move all the grass props evenly. Right now they kind of move in different directions. You can see this one, when this one goes to the left, the one in the back goes to the right. It's like kind of randomized, but it's going to be globalized. I don't think it's a big addition. I'm just having a busy week and it can't really work on the game, but I do still believe in it and hope it grows, and just want to make it a great project. That's why I'm quite excited. Man, I wish I could work on it full time, bro. That would be sick, bro. If I could work on the game full time, it's my dream one day. I hope you guys are going to help me and my modeling friend. Let's end the digression. So, a quick overview of the wind vertex. I take the word position. Right now, this isn't probably used. These are like multiplies for the sine function. Am I right? I think yes, I'm using the sine function. These are like multipliers for the wave function. You may have had it at physics, at A-level physics, or at your university. Like these wave, wave transformations, etc. I'm not gonna go into the detail. If you want me to make a tutorial on that shader, which I think I will when it is completed, then just let me know. Yeah, so that's basically the waving function with some noise, so as not to make it a uniform sine function, but actually for it to have a little like randomization or something. Yeah, so I'm using a sine, taking the vertex, so just basically moving all the vertices of a mesh according to that function. Wait, let me actually zoom in on that. Yeah, there's nothing more I can say if it's not a tutorial. Just wanted to tell you what that node's about. Yeah, and I have a way to turn the windy thing on or off, and to adjust the wind strength right there. So if I didn't have that wind strength parameter, I wouldn't be able to adjust the wind for like this tree, which should wiggle a little less because the wood is stiffer than leaves. Birch tree wiggles a lot, I believe. Yeah, it does, as you can see. But the baobab, since it has like a strong structure, it doesn't actually bend that much. I don't think the stem bends at all. No, right, it doesn't bend, but the leaves do. A little. Oh yeah, you can see that right now. So yeah, that's useful. And then there's the light function. Yeah, and I'm doing it all in visual shaders. I think they're just a little neater to use. Everybody uses the coded shaders, and I hate it. When I want to look at a tutorial up online or something, I have to see shader code and translate it into visual shaders. But I prefer visual shaders, you know? I'm coding in GDScript or like C++, etc. I don't have to fucking code in shaders, you know. I like the visual approach. So I'm doing this standard thing right now, right there, the toon shader, calculating the dot product of light and the normal of a surface, raising it to power 0.8. Now with this power value, or whatever it is called in mathematics, displaces the levels so that there is more detail, more levels in the light spectrum than in the shadows. If I change that from 0.8 to like 2, I think, yeah, there are more shadows and less light, and I want it to be a little glowy, so that's why I added this power. This max function just disables, I think, I'm not sure, I'm not definitely sure, it disables the blackest shadows. So it's not pitch black, yeah, like, you know, slight diffusion or something. I multiply the result with the number of levels, so I basically assign like the number of light bands on an object, and I want the terrain, like the surrounding grass, etc., to have like 16 light levels. Like in Breath of the Wild, you've got the beautiful aesthetics, but what I noticed is that only the players and maybe some objects are cel shaded, but the terrain isn't cel shaded at all. That's why the light looks so smooth, and the game can still not look choppy, because when I turn on the game with my low poly look and toon shader added to the terrain mesh, these colors are too saturated right now. It's going to change the future. And to pull out the torch, oh, it's not visible for you. Wait, I'm just gonna disable the light for now, so you can see that weird effect I'm getting, but I think I'm gonna keep with it. It looks kind of nice. So yeah, if I turn that on, we can see there are circles, which I do like. It's giving that cozy vibe, but they are chopped. See right there? These like edges don't meet. I don't know what to do with it yet. And these like not meeting edges are caused by the mesh being jittery. It's not a flat mesh. It's like made of primitive triangles randomized in different directions, because I wanted the terrain to be more interesting. But I don't know if I'm gonna keep it when I add the grass in, because the grass does look nice. Well, not at night, but when there's gonna be grass, I don't think you'll be able to spot the triangles, so I'm gonna have to think about it. But yeah, there are these chopped radial segments of the torch, and actually it does give a nice look to it, but I just don't know what is it caused by. You know, you're gonna have to diagnose it soon. Yeah, so I want many light bands for the terrain so that it doesn't pop out in view or something. It isn't as apparent. Like this axe is going to use 2 levels just as the player is, to be easier spotted at the screen, and objects like trees and bushes, etc., and grass will have 3 to 5 levels of light, so they blend in with the terrain more. They don't pop out as much because they're not going to be like, the player has 2 light levels, so you can see it on the screen easily. The bushes, you don't want that to happen, and the tools are also going to be visible better. The buildings are, I think, gonna stay as the terrain is, with like 16 or 30 or 12 levels of light. But yeah, that's the game right now. The torch does wiggle a lot because that's a standard mix ammo animation, so it's just fucking bad. I don't know what to say. Another thing which happens right now, and I don't know how to fix it, but I haven't thought about it much, so like it's just a bug which has not been yet taken care of. When you walk into grass, it gets transparent, and that's good, we want that. But when you walk into a bush, it stays the same, so I don't know what that is caused by. Yeah, so these are the levels number. Levels number. Yeah, it is. Then we take the number of levels. We multiply it by the output of our dot product. We floor it so that it's just the what is it called? The decimal points stay cut off. you divide it by the levels number again, and that's how you get a toon shader. Then I multiply by the color, by the attenuation, so the map isn't lit in the whole and the colors stay like constant. I mean, when you hold the torch, you don't want the light to be white, so that's why I multiply by that. Add it to the normal diffusion, which is quite problematic because it makes the shadows like have detail that I don't want there. Like you could see when I turned off the sun, the bushes looked like pixel shaded or vertex shaded. But if I don't add the diffuse into there, it's going to be problematic because fireflies, which are right now in the game, create weird circles around them. Oh no, wait, what happened? Oh yeah, right there. You see that? I don't know what that was. It only happens when it's like in the bottom of the screen. I really don't know what that is. It may have something to do with the Omni lights or something, so that the shader actually calculates the color output for only one light source. Since you can see when I'm not holding the torch, the fireflies cast beautiful circular like lights. Yeah, but when I hold the torch, they just break. I don't know what that is. That's a shader problem, so that's why I add the diffuse. I'm gonna have to fix that. When I fix all my problems, I'm going to probably release the tutorial for that shader, because not many tutorials do it in visual shaders, and as I said, I prefer this way. Then I clamp the vector with a diffuse limit, so that basically when I didn't used to clamp it, the surfaces would glow and the sand would reflect the light, and it would be like 5 times stronger than the sun itself. So the sand it basically glowed. I had to clamp it, and that's also a parameter in the shader. So if we hold actually a palm, that's all for the shader. I don't have to. Then I just plug it into the diffuse. So yeah, that's ended, I guess. When I open the palm thing and go to the shader basically, it has all the parameters. It's got a windy parameter, which the stem moves also. If I turn it off, the stem stays constant. There's a wind strength parameter. It specifies the displacement, the color of the mesh itself, the base color. There's the texture, which I'm not assigning. I don't know if I want to delete that. The transparency used for bush shading. I mean for entering bushes and grass bunches or whatever. The number of light levels. So right now it's at 4. I can make it like 12. There will be different shades of light. But 4 is good. The diffuse limit to 5. This basically adjusts the maximum light the palm tree can reflect. So I set that to like 1 for terrain, so it doesn't glow. But the bushes can glow because, you know, leaves sometimes reflect a lot of light and look beautiful when they glow. So that's why I added that parameter. Now the next thing is the grass, which I think I've gotten pretty accurate. Like, I like how it's in the distance, the tops lights to like yellow or something. There's a gradient to it, and when you're close to it, it just blends together, doesn't distract the eye at all. I think I'm gonna have to adjust the ground color right now, because when the camera is above the grass, which you can see right now, since our angle is, I think, about 40 degrees, you can see the holes between the glass grass blades, and I don't think that looks the best, but I might be able to fix that by just fixing the color of the ground, basically. So yeah, this grass, I love it. I think it's nice. I'm gonna tweak it a little too. It doesn't sway in the wind yet. It's going to sway, like, you know how the wind map, the global wind map, just as everything goes right there. So yeah, these are the only 2 additions I just added. A graphical update to the game, basically, but not every object is done, because the way this tree is imported, it is oak. The way this tree is imported. Wait, let me actually go to the right. If I go to the trees, like the upper part of the trees base mesh, we can see it's got a texture, and the mesh isn't divided to blobs and the stem itself, so I can't assign 2 different colors. So if I were to add a surface material override, yeah, you see, when I change the... Wait, I'm just gonna load the toon shader for now. Where's the fucking toon shader? There it is. See, it changes the whole color, and I want it to be divided. So yeah, I think that mesh is actually ready on the Google Drive. I just don't have time to do it in this week. Have an exam coming. Since I couldn't attend the first two, what is it called? Terms? I don't know. The first two schedules. So I have to do that, and also tomorrow and overmorrow I'm not home. So yeah, but the next week is gonna be huge. I'm gonna work on the game a lot more. Maybe add the things I promised for once, like what they say I would add, like water and the player model. Yeah. So yeah, no, actually there is a player model. It's just got in blue. So yeah, I said I'm going to add a player model, and I did. So leave likes. Drop a comment if you love it. So yeah, I can't yet shade that tree and the pine tree because they are connected. For the different meshes like the baobab, the palm tree, and the bird tree, we've added. Actually, we've divided it in the making in Blender, so I could just drag it and change the color. So yeah, I guess that's all the additions for this week, and all I have to say. The base video's length is 22 minutes, so we'll see how it is chopped up. And if you stay to the very end, well that's respectful. And I'd like to shake your hand. So I'm going to update you in the next week because I think you might be interested in that. Maybe I'll even make a video sooner, since this one is probably late, like 2 or 3 days. It's not very respectful of me, but yeah, whatever. I'm excited to see what the game brings, and see you week's time, I guess. Whatever.